Good morning, 8th graders. So we are going to start going through the activity plate boundaries mapping. So you are going to need this packet, which is 2 pages, 1 front and back. You'll need this large map, and then you're also going to need access to the Schoology page, because I can do this once, so ignore that. Okay, but over here, in Schoology, I have different maps that will help you actually get this all mapped out onto the larger paper. So this is within the activities page. If you're back in the homework and practice, it should be set up something similar to this, and it's the plate boundary mapping part 1. Okay. When you click into each of these, it should bring up a fairly decent sized picture. It doesn't look great like from this angle, but that. And then let's try this. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. So I've included all of these just as helpful resources so that you can kind of see the different things I'm asking you to map. So you'll use that. So if we go back to my less disgusting desk versus my office, so you'll need this in front of you first. Let me center this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so you are going to research and label each of the following items from the checklist onto the plate boundaries map. Use a different color to highlight each of the items in the checklist. Be sure to include a map key. Take your time, complete this neatly. Once you have completed the labeling, answer the questions using complete sentences. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do in green is you are going to label each of the plates. So I'm not going to label each of them, but I am going to label mainly like this side of the earth that we're a little more familiar with. So this is where you will use the first 2 pictures just on Schoology to kind of help you. Now, the pictures on Schoology, I'm going to quick flip up to this again. Okay, they take different perspectives. So for this map, you have North America and South America in the center of the map, versus if you go over here, you have North America and South America off to the left-hand side. So keep that in mind as you are doing this, because in the actual map, we are looking at North and South America on the left-hand side. Okay, so whichever is easiest. Now, you do have some smaller plates kind of sort of like peeped in here, so be aware of that. But what I'm going to do is, up here, I'm going to start labeling. So this is my North American plate, and I'm writing it in green. I recommend writing it in pencil first, but you do you. North American plate. Okay, so North American plate, I'm going to come down here and then label my South American. Okay, South American. Then I'm also going to put in here, so like here is my Nazca plate. Nazca. As well as I have my Cocos. Now, this is really hard to write Cocos in here, so all I'm going to do is simply draw a line, and out here in the middle of this, Cocos plate. Okay, Caribbean needs to fit in this little space, so again, I'm just going to draw a line. Caribbean plate. Okay, so there are other minor plates listed here, like down here, technically right underneath South America, we have the Scotia plate, we have the Juan de Fuca plate up here. You're welcome to draw those in if it helps you kind of get a better understanding of what's going on. But this is mainly what needs to be done. Now, yes, I've only written these ones down. Your expectation is to go over here and complete the Eastern Hemisphere. Okay? So, that. So I'm going to bring my checklist back, and I'm just going to say, you know what? This is done. I've done what I needed to. Fantastic. Okay, using black arrows. Now you'll see there are 4 of these listed, and that is because there are 4 different types of plate boundaries. Remember, we have our convergent collision, so if I were to draw it, this is like where we build our mountains, only mountains, not volcanic mountains. Using black arrows, label convergent subduction, so that would be here where one goes up, one goes under. Label a divergent, so where they are scooching away, and then label a transformative where they're going back and forth against each other. Okay? Now, this is where things could maybe get a little challenging because you are going to need to look at this map. Okay? Again, you have the different perspectives of the fact that the North and South American plate are in the center versus off to the left-hand side, so perspective is going to be a little challenging. But then you also have to read these colors. Down here it gives you a key. So you have divergent, convergent. This is convergent where you have like which plate is overriding the other. So the teeth on the overriding plate, meaning that up here, like where the Pacific plate and the North American plate are coming together, the North American plate is what is riding on top. Okay? And then transform is in blue. Now, obviously, depending on where you're looking at some of these plates, you're going to get like this Mod Podge between divergent, transformative, and a little bit of convergent. You're gonna label to the best of your ability, and I would say go with the majority color. Okay? So, you need 3 collision, 3 subduction, 3 divergent, and 3 transformative. Your most difficult ones to try to figure out on here are going to be your convergence, because you don't necessarily know which one of these is convergent collision or convergent subduction. You might have to use the Googs a little bit in order to figure that out. Okay? But we need to label 3 of these. Now, let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to go back down here to my map. I'll show you everything that is disgusting about my office. Oop. Hopefully I don't push this off the back of my desk. Okay, so So I know that there are transformative boundaries along California because we have a lot of those plates, or we have a lot of those type of earthquakes, and we know that it's happening. So a majority over here, according to my map that I have up on my computer as I do this, I have 1 plate. This is the Pacific plate. Oh, I didn't label that. I labeled the Cocos plate, but I didn't label the Pacific plate. So remember, this is the Cocos plate. And then this big hunkin' thing is the Pacific plate. Okay, so my Pacific plate is actually moving northward. Okay, so I'm going to put this where in my black pen, and my North American plate is actually kind of moving south. So this is my first transformative. That's all you need to do. Then, as we go up here, I have a convergent subduction, and I'm going to have to actually turn my paper a little bit because this plate is riding on top. So they're coming together, but this one is riding on top. Versus this one's coming together, but this one's going under. This is matching up with this arrow, okay? So I only now need to mark 2 more transformative and 2 more convergent subduction. I still need 3 of these, but that'll be easy peasy. Okay? So that's what's going to happen. I have my mid-Atlantic ridge going through here, and that is a divergent sort of a zone. So I'm just over here going to draw my arrow to where they are moving away from one another. Okay? And then convergent collision, I'm going to quick run over here because I know this off the top of my head, but this is my convergent collision because this is where the Himalayas are being built. So I'm going to draw an arrow going upward together and then upward together. Okay? This is what you're going to do. So I have one example of each of the plate boundaries here. Now, you need to go through and now you need to do 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. Okay? I've already done 1 for you, but make sure that you're using arrows to represent this to where I should be able to look at your map and see, oh, this is subduction versus this is collision. Okay? These are going past one another as a transformative, and these are diving apart from each other in divergent. Okay? So you are going to do that. Then, your next thing, in blue, highlight the mid-Atlantic ridge. So, this isn't blue, it's purplish, but this is the only highlighter I have at home apparently. Who knows where my child has put all the rest of them. But again, I have an example, or I have a map of this in Schoology of where the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is. Essentially, it is this line going down the center of your page. So, I'm just going to take my highlighter, and I am going to highlight all the way. Okay? And then I'm also going to make sure that I label this. So this is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Okay? So that takes care of this one. And then finally in orange, you are going to highlight the Ring of Fire. This is the last picture I've provided you, and the Ring of Fire essentially follows a majority of the Pacific Plate. Now again, the picture that I give you online has it to where North and South America are in the center, okay? But you have to change perspective a little bit. Your Ring of Fire essentially starts along the coastline of South America, follows up through the coastline of North America, underneath Alaska, and then you actually have to come over on this side because it comes this direction and then goes along Japan, the Philippines, and all the way over New Zealand, and it actually comes back down over here. This little piece that seems to be missing is actually here. Okay? That is your Ring of Fire. It is gigantuan. So again, in orange, I'm going to label Ring of, my pen's almost dead, Fire. Okay. And then I can cross it out here. Now the final step to your map, by the time you get to this point, is you are going to create a key of the map, or for the map in the lower left-hand corner. So down here somewhere, I want you to create a key. So I am simply going to just put in big bold letters, key. And then I need to make sure that I am including, I'm going to fold this in half just for now. Again, your job is to fill out the entire map. That was the poorest fold job I could ever do. Okay. Your job is to fill out the entire map. I'm just showing you basically the Western Hemisphere. So for the key in green, these are your plates. Okay. Arrows, black arrows specifically, are boundaries. Okay. In blue, you have the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And in orange, you have the Ring of Fire. Now, you are going to be adding to this, so I would not box it off yet because you're going to for sure add 2 more symbols as we progress through. Okay, so, but this is the bare minimum of what you should have thus far. Remember, you are completing this. After you've completed this portion, please answer the 3 questions that follow. Okay, so what 2 plates create a convergent subduction boundary? You labeled on the map. What 2 plates create the Mid-Atlantic Ridge? What type of boundary is this? And then finally, what is the Ring of Fire? Okay. There can be multiple answers, especially to these first 2, but I'm looking for what makes sense. Okay, so whatever multiple answers, I should be able to look and see, oh, well, you're talking about 2 convergent subductions. I need to know whether it is the Caribbean, whether it's the South American. I should not see South American and North American, basically, or I should say South American and Pacific, because there is some that touches here, because they don't touch. There is no boundary where the Pacific plate and the South American plate touch. Okay, so make sure that you are labeling it and you are telling me which plates and it makes sense. Okay, that's part 1. We will get to part 2 and 3 in the future. If you have any questions, please ask your teachers. We want to help. But yeah, that's what I got. Fantastic. Thank you, 8th graders.